So the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie has been out for over a month now, and this had me thinking, I want to go into the results and into the box office and budget and really see what exactly people are talking about with this movie and overall what the future of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie franchise will be after the results of Five Nights at Freddy's 2. If we look at the budget is between 36 million and 51 million. Again, I don't know what the exact number is because you got to factor in the cameras, you got to factor in the marketing, the actors, all that stuff. 36 to 51 million dollars, that's not too bad in my opinion. I know the first one was about 20 million dollars, but Five Nights at Freddy's 2, they have more animatronics, more actors, more everything. So it makes sense why this one's a little bit more. If we go into the box office, right now it is sitting at $233 million at the box office. Pretty good. It was at 224 a couple days ago. $233 million at the box office, man. That is really good. I know it went out on digital about two and a half weeks after it was out in the movie theater. I'm not really sure why they decided to do that. They went, hey, we're going to put it out for 2.5 and then put it on digital. I think they started to panic when they saw some of the criticism of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, which to me is like, hey, you didn't need to panic. Like, a lot of the fans liked the movie. That's why they were like, we need to rush it onto streaming to kind of get some more numbers in. I get it. It's fine. I mean, even if we think about the Five Nights at Freddy's 1 movie, people were really hesitant at it in the beginning. They were like, oh, we have to put it on Peacock, and then obviously it blew it out of the water at $297. They lost some money putting it on Peacock, but it's fine. 233, pretty good. Been out for over a month. I think it might hit 240, maybe at the end of the theater run, maybe 240, depending how well maybe some of the next weekends come in, some of the digital sales, maybe 240, maybe, but I don't know, man. 233 on a 36 to 51 million dollar box office. At the end of the day, that is a massive W, man. That is a humongous profit for that. That is 233 to 36 to 51. That's a great profit again for Five Nights at Freddy's and Blumhouse. Massive win, massive W, made a ton of money. Not as much as the first one. First one was 20 mil budget, 297 mil box office, but overall not bad, with a second movie being a little bit more divisive and a little bit more, fan heavy and lore heavy. Not too bad. Honestly, that's really good. If you go into the Rotten Tomato score, 16% in the tomato meter. That's really bad. 84% popcorn meter with over 5,000 ratings. I want you to pay attention to that 5,000 ratings. That are fans that are voting and rating on the movie compared to 16% in the tomato meter. Now let's talk about the big reveal, the tomato meter of Five Nights at Freddy's 2. People were clowning it, saying it's an absolute dumpster fire. What the heck is this? Stuff like that. The thing about the critics is that, look, no offense to them, they're a bunch of unks and old heads out there. They don't know the Five Nights at Freddy's lore. Again, certain things in the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, if you see Baby and you're a critic and you have no idea what the heck Fnaf is, you're gonna be like, what the heck is this crazy baby animatronic in the closet? If you see Michael Afton, you're not gonna understand the importance of a Michael Afton in the Five Nights at Freddy's lore. Same thing with Henry Emily and stuff like that. So I can't really get mad. Again, the critics were the same one that bombed Mario, they didn't really bomb Sonic. They did pretty good with Sonic. But overall, the critics, the critics are the same people who said they liked The Last Jedi, and The Last Jedi literally tore Star Wars apart. So the thing about the critic score is, like, I can't take a critic score serious with someone. You need source material to back it up. Do you think 127 critics played Five Nights at Freddy's and was like, okay, this character makes sense? No, of course not. They're looking at face value. It's a movie that you need to have prior knowledge in, and I get it. That's really tough for ordinary audiences to get if they see a movie that you need to have homework on, kind of like doing your homework. But again, like, that's kind of video game movies in general. If you're watching the Mario movie and you see a sequence in the Tanuki suit, you're like, hey, how do you get that Tanuki suit? Well, that's a superpower from Super Mario Bros. 3 and all the other games. So it's like, you need to kind of know something about movie with different background material, right? So I mean, that's kind of normal. And if we look at the IMDb score, Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is sitting at a 5.2 out of 10 with 28,000 reviews. Let's talk about Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Overall, Five Nights at Freddy's 2, let's look at every sort of criteria. Let's look at the box office, let's look at the critics, let's look at the overall reputation of Five Nights at Freddy's 2. From the box office, it's an absolute dunk of a success. Absolutely slam dunk right there. 233, might end up to 240. Got everyone talking. Probably more people are playing Five Nights at Freddy's now with the movie coming out. Absolute slam dunk. Over another $200 million project for Blumhouse in the Five Nights at Freddy's universe. That's about maybe 297. That's about maybe over $500 million in the box office of Five Nights at Freddy's. You can't go wrong with that, man. A franchise making $500 million. That is incredible on a budget of 20 and 36 to 51 million dollars. That is incredible right there. A money-making machine is the Five Nights at Freddy's, and that's not talking about popcorn buckets. That's not talking about the plushies, the shirts, the blankets, all the extra stuff that's going to be bought with Five Nights at Freddy's. Absolute fantastic, man. Again, a movie, like they said, that's made for the fans, but that gets into the criticism of the movie. I loved Five Nights at Freddy's 2. I thought it was really good. I thought it was bigger and better than the first one. A complete upgrade. But if you want to continue the success of Five Nights at Freddy's in the movie universe, sister location, Five Nights at Freddy's 3, Five Nights at Freddy's 6, all you want to make all these movies, you have to make sure you're continuing to ponder to the general audience. Because again, it's really hard for someone to get into something if you need to have prior knowledge. Henry Emily, some of these people might not know Henry Emily. I mean, they explain Henry Emily at the end of the movie, but someone like Baby and Michael Afton, you kind of have to have prior knowledge about. The good thing about Five Nights at Freddy's 1 is that it really introduced you into the Five Nights at Freddy's universe. It's a security guard looking for some more hours, trying to take care of his family, and these kids are haunting the suits. Very clean and basic story to understand if you're a general audience member. Now, Five Nights at Freddy's 2, what the heck are the Wizards? Why are the Wizards doing that? Who is Shadow Bonnie? Like, it could confuse some of the ordinary fans, which again, it's fine. Like, at the end of the day, you can't pander to the general fans in everything, because then you're going to lose your core fans that want to see a baby, that want to see a Springtrap, that want to see a Shadow Bonnie. Like, you have to keep it very organized, and you have to kind of please both sides. With Five Nights at Freddy's 1, I think they did a great job of pleasing both sides. They pleased the general audiences as well as pleasing the super fans, right? With everything included, Golden Freddy, all the Easter eggs that they did. So when it comes to Five Nights at Freddy's 3 in the future, I do think 100% the third one will be made. The third one is going to be scratching a big itch that the directors were talking about of getting Henry Emily and Matthew Lillard in the mix. I'm not going to lie, man. That movie 3 is going to be absolutely fantastic. It is one of my most hyped projects in the future that we don't have announced yet. Hopefully it gets announced soon, of a Springtrap, because Springtrap is my favorite character. Springtrap, Fnaf 3 is my favorite game. So seeing in a real life version of Fazbear Frights Phantoms with Henry Emily, with Charlotte getting back, Springtrap coming in there fully locked and loaded, it's going to be a sight to see, man. I am really excited to see what they're going to do with Five Nights at Freddy's 3, man. It's just crazy to think about. You know, I was a little kid. I was 10, 11 years old. I remember emailing Scott on scottgames.com saying, oh my God, like, if you can you make the movie PG-13, because I'm 11 years old. And now, like, being older now, seeing it in live action, seeing all the movies, I say to myself, it's like, man, like, I was at like 11-year-old kid emailing Scott Games saying, hey, like, I want to see the movie, but I'm 11 years old. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to see it or not. And seeing it all the way now, it's just fantastic, man. It's just absolutely fantastic, man. But again, a lot of positive stuff with Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Let's not bury it completely. Ton of animatronics introduced, Baby, Michael Afton, Henry Emily, a ton of key lore elements that are in the movie that we absolutely love. But guys, let me know in the comments, what do you think about the final results of Five Nights at Freddy's 2? Do you think it's worth the hate? Do you think it's worth all the money? Let me know in the comments what you want to see in Five Nights at Freddy's 3 as well. But if you guys can, man, hit that like button, hit that sub button. We're posting new videos every single day, whether that's Mario, Sonic, The Avengers, Five Nights at Freddy's, anything you guys want. Let me know in the comments. Amen. See you guys in the next video. Be there, be there.